Welcome to Insights into Success, where with your host Paul Dodds, we hope to educate, inspire and motivate you to achieve your own personal success. We talk to guests from all around the world from a variety of walks of life to hear the realities of their own journey to success. What challenges have they faced, how have they coped with failure, and what have been the keys or will be the keys to their own success. In our Read to Succeed interviews, we talk books that have inspired our guests, and for some, they share their secrets to marketing success. Join us as we give you insights into success.
All right, well, welcome back to Insights into Success, where we're doing a special recording for Read to Succeed. Now, our recent guest, Ann Mallorie, has agreed to stay on and share with us some books that she's found inspirational. Now, I'm hoping, and I think she's not going to talk about business books, so I'm really keen to hear what books you'd like to share.
Thank you, Paul. Yeah, the first book that I would actually recommend is an oldie but goodie, which is The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron. So the truth actually is that my book, Guts and Grace, the format of it was inspired by The Artist's Way. It's a 12-module or a 12-step process that essentially is about bringing yourself into a relationship with your inner artist so that you can write something if you want to or create something if you want to. But what I love about The Artist's Way is that whether you see yourself as a creative or an artist or not, and really especially if you don't, there's a lot that she invites you to do that just help you get out of the way of how you might sabotage yourself or how you might talk yourself out of or move yourself out of what's most important for you to show up for. So I highly recommend checking out The Artist's Way. It's very like bite-sized, do this practice, do this thing. She teaches a process that many, many, many people have done over the years called Morning Pages, which is a very short journaling practice. If you haven't read it, I recommend putting it on your list.
And how long ago would you have read that book?
Oh my gosh, probably when I was like 17 or 18.
Right, so it was way back. So that's really
at least 20
really
years,
influenced you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was very baseline. I think it not only taught me what the book is aimed to teach, right? To come into a relationship with yourself as a creator, but it also showed me something about the process of transformation and evolution because she takes you through a process. It's based on 12-step, I believe. But it's like you go through X, Y, and Z, and then you're different at the end. So it informed my relationship with myself as a creator, but it also informed how I think about transformation.
Yeah. Interesting. And do you have any other books you want to share or?
Let's see. Yes, the other book that comes to mind is The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho. But the truth is there are probably 2 or 3 other similar kinds of books that also influenced me. So I'll name one that maybe your readers haven't heard of, which was called Mutant Message Down Under. And I wish that I could remember the title or the author. I don't, unfortunately.
It's okay. We can look that up.
But both of them were stories that were also kind of transformational in nature and, again, gave me an insight into what it means to be human and kind of took me on an emotional journey that was part of what I could access at a time. So I grew up in a steel mill town in Western Pennsylvania. I didn't really have a lot of access to transformational things. I didn't have a lot of access to diverse spirituality. I just had books. And so at that time, it was like, oh, here's a whole world of how you could experience, your inner life or your spirit as a human or something that's just outside of your box. But it wasn't just like fun fiction, which I liked too. But at the time, it was like, oh, there was something different about these books because they seemed to tap into my soul in some way that I really appreciated.
Yeah. And tell me, with your reading, is it something you do regularly, or like what does it look like for you to read?
Oh my gosh, my relationship with reading right now is, I don't know, maybe embarrassing, but I'll say it, which is I love Audible. I live in the woods and I live about 40 minutes from a lot of infrastructure, so I drive a lot, which means I'm usually listening to books on Audible, and I usually have 2 to 5 that I'm listening to at a time that serve different functions. So one is usually more story. There's a couple of like technical books that I'm in, but I can really only take like 20, 30 minutes. And then it's like, great, I need to come back to that a week from now. So I have sort of parallel process in how I read. And then usually one thing that's on my bedside that is nourishing in some way. So that could be a story. Often it's something more spiritual, just by nature of what I enjoy.
And how do you keep track when you're listening to multiple books at the same time? Do you have any problems keeping track on where you're at with each of them?
Old-fashioned bookmarks and page turning, and on Audible, it of course keeps your place. But in terms of keeping track of the learning, I have a pretty simple function of I have an iPhone. I have a notes page on my iPhone for each of the books, and
Yeah.
I pick up where I was and add notes, and that's kind of how I do many things in parallel. So it's pretty common for me to learn that way. And
Yeah,
not
yeah.
commonly, Paul, one will relate to the other. It's like, oh, suddenly this chapter in this book is saying something like there's a lot of synchronicity that ends up happening when I do
Right.
that.
Right. And one of my questions was, how do you recall information you learn? But you've already answered that. So you take notes.
I do. I usually do. I have both one journal where I keep anything that's related to my business, but if it's just like especially if I'm listening to something on Audible, I have a notes page on my phone that just is like pop it in there and then find it later when you need it.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much for staying on to do this recording. I think for me, I just like to encourage people to read. I think it's a great way to learn so much and shortcut your journey. So this is just a platform where we can gather up ideas for different books to read and then put it out there to hopefully inspire others. So, but thank you so much, Leanne, for being willing to share.
You're so welcome. Thank you.